Welcome everyone, my name is Zona and I'm on a quest to discover albums with exceptional talent. Today we are reviewing the debut record of Kamelot. August 2nd, 1995, they released Eternity. A very unique sounding record for my ears when I first listened to it, and featuring their first vocalist, Mark Vanderbilt. The title track, Eternity, is track number 1. It does not disappoint, and it starts off with an adventurous orchestral march into an intense drum beat that just kicks off the album so well. The build up to the first chorus is executed flawlessly and not drawn out. Right after the chorus, we get the first look at Thomas Youngblood's signature solo style. The song changes pace and beats so fast, but it's not too confusing to feel lost. You don't get bored of this track, and it makes it a constant repeat for me. Track number 2 is Black Tower. It's a perfect song that backs up the magnificent grand opening of Eternity. This song is a little less complex, but it doesn't make it any less grand. The song for me really portrays the feeling of doom in power, and looking up at what I believe they're talking about, a king's castle above a mountain, looking down on all the peasants below. Black Tower does a really good job in the feeling of wonder, questioning, and power, which of course power metal is all about. As we heard from Eternity, and later on in the album, we are talking about the ocean a lot here. So track number 3 is Call of the Sea, which is the most prominent, and it is a very good song backing up the first two, making a really great 3-song run right off the gate. This is like a fight for survival in somewhat of a melancholy way, but then right when you get into the chorus, you feel that like conquering of your problems, and of course in this situation being lost at sea and having the feeling of he's being called to die in the sea, but he is in the chorus singing and overcoming that. And I really like the message of this song, even if it is pretty simple. So Proud Nomad, track number 4, is a little bit of a different story. It does smack you right away with some good guitar and bass work. Really catchy instrumental here. My problem is this is the first song you can really tell strain with the vocals and it not being as good as the instrumentals. It really goes to show the first singer, Mark, his strain and repetitiveness in his vocal style was starting to show here. And this is why a lot of Kamelot fans don't really like the first records with him as the vocalist is, starts off with this song, I feel. The chorus, I'm really not a big fan of. It has no real flow. And this is just vocal based. I mean, this song is a really good instrumental. It's actually really catchy. Like, I can hear it in my head. Not a lot of Kamelot songs can I always think of the instruments and exactly what they're doing, but in this song it's very catchy. Just the vocals are really weak on here, which brings the song way down. Okay, track number 5, Red Sands. Just skip it. Like, okay, maybe I'm being a little too harsh here. It's not like bad music, but it's just so boring that you don't even remember anything about it except maybe the chorus and how that kind of flows together, if you know what I'm talking about. So far, weakest vocal performance, even worse than Proud Nomad in some ways, but at least this song, it's overall a little lower, so it doesn't feel as much of a punch in the face as Proud Nomad was, while the instruments were just so much better than the vocals. One of the Hunted is track number 6, and this is a little bit different. It's definitely a step up from the last song for sure. I'm kind of indifferent if this is like a good song or just an okay song, but at least the chorus does something a little different, having some backup vocals to change things up. And I can't go without saying that guitar work is absolutely insane on this song, as well as most of this album. All right, track number 7, Fire Within. We're finally back up to some pretty good standards, up almost as good as the first few tracks there. I really like the guitar tone they used in the verse. It's a nice change up for sure. It's a little bit more of an understated vibe, a little slower, which is why I like it, especially after coming from a few songs that kind of started to sound the same a little bit. This one does change it up very well. One thing I must say here again is vocal performance sounding repetitive, but it stands its ground on its own if you haven't been listening to a bunch of the songs beforehand. Number 8 is Warbird. This song, You know, some people may really like it, but I don't find there's really a point to it even existing here. Definitely skippable, not rememberable. Lyrics don't really have any meaning for me. Seems pretty basic, and just like, why even put in the effort to record it? It's an okay piece of work, but as a song going on your album, it doesn't stand out in any way. You can never argue that this is the best song on the record, which I think for an artist you should be able to at least justify. This song is really good, and that's why I put it on the album. That song is really good, that's why I put it on. Who knows if they're better than each other? This was an obvious example of a filler track for no reason. They could have easily just scrapped the idea and tried something new and different and totally skippable, as I said before. What About Me is track number 9, and the only thing that I dislike about this song is that it's too late in the album. It's really refreshing, and arguably, after all the hate that I've been saying, probably one of the best vocal performances here, if not the best for sure. Though this is lyrically repetitive, I do find that there is some meaning behind what it's saying, and you do feel that throughout the song. It's really beautiful and a great change up from what we've heard before. Okay, I have no idea how to say this name as track number 10. But this is just about a 50-second instrumental, which uses different instruments that you wouldn't normally hear. And it's nice to hear that isolated from all the metal sounds that have been going on. But I do want to say, this does show, Kamelot has used a lot of orchestral and different instruments throughout this record, but it's blended in so seamlessly that you may not fully realize that it's there, and it's not as obvious in some of their later records, which they really took that to the front of a sense of, utilizing their pianist as well as using those samples and stuff of orchestral music. So yeah, it's nice to see this little bit of a break here. Going into the Gleeman, we have a true power metal song by Every Means Necessary to close out the album here. I really like the flow change up that Mark used with the vocals through the verses. That's been really nice. There's a massive break in the center of the song towards the end as well, of just instrumental. So you get that nice Kamelot, really solid drums, bass, guitar, all going crazy. It's a nice closing to this album. My only problem with this is it's the last song, and after some of these weaker songs, I do feel like I don't really get to the Gleeman very much, and I don't know it as well as I know, say, the first 3 songs, which are just so good. In conclusion, Eternity is a rock-solid start for Kamelot, but it did not define their sound. It stayed in the lane it was intended to be, and didn't really, sway any further from that. It's certainly an enjoyable experience for a certain listener. I wouldn't say it's, a broad album that you can just give to someone and they're definitely going to enjoy it. You would take a risk in that, I would say. I would listen to this again, but with the way the order works, I would really only worry about the first 3 songs, and I'd probably be done after, the few bad ones that come after it. So it's hard because in the later half, there's some really solid pieces there, but in the center is kind of weak. In my song rankings, as you see, we got Eternity at the top and Warbird at the bottom. So I have some scores we can do for this record. We have the production score, which I would say is like a 7.6 out of 10. It is nowhere near a demo, but it's not as good as some other albums have sounded. But production just itself, if we're not talking about any other factors, was really solid here. I do feel like I could listen to the bass, the drums, guitar, and vocals pretty well. I do find some of the other instruments that they added were a little too quiet, and it would have been nice to hear that. They are making some remasters for this that Kamelot is putting out, which is really nice because we're going to be able to hear it in a little bit more of a crisp sound, which I would like to hear this on. I also have the hit and miss score here at 60%. We are ranking the main songs and the top 60% of them, in this case it was top 6, were, I would say, hits. They're pretty good, and then the bottom are misses or kind of like skips. So that's the 60% score for this album, which is not bad considering some future albums we're going to get to. The replayability score, I would say, is a 5 out of 10. For me, it's higher but only with those top 3 songs. I'm not going to listen to the whole thing all the way through, so that really does knock it down. These fillers are not really good to be listening to. They're very repetitive, and for this sound and the vocal performances were just not there to have that good replayability. The artwork score, I say, is an 8 out of 10. Some people may hate this artwork. I think it's beautiful. It does a good job. It's very simple, which is a lot of this album. It's simple and straight to the point, but I like it, absolutely. I'd be doing a music video score right now, but this does not have any music videos to go with the album. So that just leaves us with the overall score of 6.7 out of 10, making it a okay album, good, but not bad, not great. Not one that we may be going back to as much as others. Well, hopefully I didn't piss off too many people out there that really love this album. I am a fan of this album. I think it is good, as I have said, but when we're talking Kamelot, there is a lot better out there. So I can't wait to explore that next time, and let me know any other music you would like me to listen to. Thank you for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe.